जय रावा कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय कृष्ण रुक्मिणी जय सत्यभामा कृष्ण रुक्मिणी जय सत्यभामा जय निताय गौरंग जय निताय गौरंग जय निताय गौरंग जय जय प्रभुपाद देवमिषपादपुरं परिव्रजकाचार्य स्तोत्र शतशिष्म डिवाइन ग्रेस अवै चरणारविंद भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। श्रीमद्-भगवद्-गीता की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Reading from Srimad-Bhagavad-Gita, Chapter 4, Transcendental Knowledge, text number 36. I'll read the verse by myself. Api chedasi papebhyaha sarvebhyaha papakrittamaha sarvam jnana plavenaiva vrijinam santarishyasi. What about meaning? Api even, ched if, asi you are, papebhyaha of sinners, sarvebhyaha of all, papakrittamaha the greatest sinner, sarvam all since all such sinful actions, jnana plavena by the boat of transcendental knowledge, eva certainly, vrijinam the ocean of miseries, santarishyasi you will cross completely. Translation and purport based Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. Even if you are considered to be the most sinful of all sinners, when you are situated in the boat of transcendental knowledge, you will be able to cross over the ocean of miseries. Purport. Proper understanding of one's constitutional position in relationship to Krishna is so nice that it can at once lift one from the struggle for existence which goes on in the ocean of nescience. This material world is sometimes regarded as an ocean of nescience and sometimes as a blazing forest. In the ocean, however, in the Shri Krishna Rukmani Satyabhama ki Jai, Shri Gauranga ki Jai, Shri Prabhupada ki Jai. In the ocean, however expert a swimmer one may be, the struggle for existence is very severe. If someone comes forward and lifts the struggling swimmer from the ocean, he is the greatest savior. Perfect knowledge received from the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the path of liberation. The boat of Krishna consciousness is very simple, but at the same time, the most sublime. Thus, since the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimirantasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we are seeing the fourth chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Transcendental Knowledge. From the Absolute Truth, there are two things are emanating. One is the inferior energy and another is superior energy. Both are energies of the Absolute Truth. But there are two categories of energies are emanating from the Absolute Truth. The inferior energy is comprised of this matter, as earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, false ego, all these are inferior energy. And the superior energy is the living entity, the actual person. Because everybody, all of us are a personality. Each and every living entity, every person, maybe human being or animal or plants or reptiles, whatever form they are, but still they are, each one of us is a personality. And personality means the very common understand, common characteristics of a person is has consciousness, has his works with under certain faith. He has the tendency to desire something, because the desire are fundamental characteristics of the person, and he wants to be always in the mode of blissfulness. So there are fundamental characteristics of the superior energy, personality. Whereas the inferior energy, it is all full of made of dead matter, inert, and it has no life symptoms. So in the material world, in our experience, whatever we are able to perceive through our senses or analyze with our mind, these are all only the external energy, the inferior energy is made of panchabhutas, earth, water, fire or ether, and mind, intelligence and false ego. With our, we can, of course, our senses are limited. Even with our limited senses, we can directly perceive only certain things with our senses. And also with our mind, we can able to analyze only about certain things. That is all about internal energy. But what about the superior energy? What about the knowledge about the superior energy? When it comes to knowledge, the knowledge also, there should be two categories of knowledge. Because knowledge which pertains to the material world, that is matter, called material knowledge, and knowledge which pertains to the spiritual spirit, called spiritual knowledge. Spiritual knowledge we cannot conceive with our own mental mind, or we can't perceive with our gross senses, but it can be understood only from the Supreme Lord, as just by hearing from him. That Shravanam, Stotram, that should be there. Only by hearing from the bona fide spiritual master, we can able to understand about the spirit and the knowledge about the spirit. So therefore, in our understanding itself, the material knowledge, even though the teacher may be unintelligent, if the student is little intelligent, he can able to grasp the subject matter through his intelligent capacities. As long as his intelligence allows, he can able to gain that material knowledge. Whereas the spiritual knowledge, it has to be heard from the bona fide personality. Unless we hear from bona fide personality, we can't able to advance in our spiritual life, because the knowledge is coming in the top down process. So it has to be heard from, and the first person who impart the knowledge is the Supreme Lord, Krishna himself. First is at the beginning of the creation, the knowledge was imparted to the first living entity of the universe, that is Brahma, through his heart. And from Brahma, it is coming down to other living entities in the chain of disciplic succession. And even though this, at the current age, this is a Kali Yuga, is fully filled with only material energies, material knowledge everywhere, still we are we are not unfortunate to receive. We cannot say that we are unfortunate to be in this material world. Still, the Lord is very merciful even at the present age. So therefore, He has still sending the bona fide spiritual master even in up to our life also. Like 500 years before, the Lord Himself has appeared as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and again propagated the Yuga Dharma for the age of Kali Yuga. And further, He sends so many bona fide spiritual master according to different time. And if we are fortunate enough to come in touch with such bona fide spiritual master and understand the knowledge, then our door to the spiritual world opens. Because the living entities which we are living in this material world are all superior energy of Krishna, which has full desires to enjoy spiritually, not materially, intrinsically. And the process is to accept the instruction from the bona fide spiritual master. Otherwise, there are sometimes people may think, they may say also that no, the knowledge about the spirit I have to realize by myself. I should not get heard from anyone else. That is not correct, because our mental ability, intellectual ability are the limited one. Maybe intelligent, in comparatively he may be intelligent, more intelligent than others. But what the Supreme Lord wanted is, with his intelligence, he cannot able to understand the spiritual knowledge. Understanding the spiritual knowledge means surrendering unto Him, and surrendering unto Him means following the instructions. Following the instructions. So, what kind of instructions we can follow? That is defined by the bona fide spiritual master. So therefore, one has to receive the transcendental knowledge from the bona fide spiritual master. And just 2 verses before, Krishna himself says, one has to surrender approach a bona fide spiritual master and render service unto him, and the pure devotee spiritual master impart you the transcendental knowledge. So this is the process. If we try to understand the spiritual knowledge by our own endeavor, it is very, very difficult. So the Lord himself has made the process very easy. One has to just follow the process. And satisfying such a bona fide spiritual master is the secret for we are progressing in our spiritual life. This is very important. Sometimes we may think that, oh, I like to serve Krishna this way, so I want to do. With this, I can get satisfied. No. The satisfying the pure devotee spiritual master, the secret for our progressive in spiritual life. We try to render service by our own endeavor, our own way, then little progress we can make. But still the desire for material enjoyment keeps continuing with that person. Therefore, he cannot advance in his spiritual life. And Lord, in other place, he has said, Ye etamam prapatyante tam stateva bhajameham. As you surrender unto me, I will reward you, reciprocate to you accordingly. So the degree of surrender is the degree unto which we hear and act and obey the orders of the spiritual master. He is coming in the parampara system. Because nowadays there are many pseudo spiritual masters who pose themselves as liberated person, but they are not. In actuality, they are not so. So we should not get cheated from through such pseudo spiritual master. We have to search out for the bona fide spiritual master. And the bona fide, what is the qualification? The bona fide spiritual master, he should be a liberated person, self-realized person. And he should coming in the disciplic succession. What is self-realization? Self-realization, understanding, because we are all spiritual entities, not the material entities. Material entities called jada, which can have a phase called creation, a phase called maintenance, and it will a phase called destruction. It will destroy. And further again, creation, maintenance, destruction, it will keep on going on. But the characteristics of living entity is always in blissful state. They are living in it. But we are now in the currently, we are in the material world. We are facing so many dangers. We are not fully satisfied with the material world. But the real satisfaction comes by understanding our real self. So self-realization means understanding our relationship with the Supreme Self. Because everybody, each and we are all energy is amsas of the Supreme Energy, Lord. That is absolute truth. So if you understand our relationship with the Supreme Lord, then we can attain the complete peacefulness. If you act in such knowledge, then we will said to be a liberated personalities. So in order to gain that knowledge, our relationship with the Supreme Lord, we have to approach a person who was already a self-realized person, who has a direct link with the Supreme Lord. Therefore, and in this particular verse, what Krishna is trying to give us is, even if you consider to be the most sinful of all sinners, irrespective of our material condition is, whether one is too much desire, or he has no desires, or he has desire only for self-realization, whatever the condition the person may be, if when you are situated in the boat of transcendental knowledge, the knowledge about the Supreme Self and the relationship between the Self and the Supreme Self, then you will be able to cross over the ocean of miseries. Then we can able to cross over, get out from this material clutches. So the process currently which is important to us is chanting and hearing the holy name of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The process, this is very simple process. And if you sincerely apply this process in our day-to-day life, then the path to the spiritual world opened. And once, and Krishna again in the further chapters of Bhagavad Gita, he has Krishna's given us the assurance that if once you come back to the spiritual world, you will not come back again to this material world. That much he has assured. Because in the spiritual world, it is like an ever increasing happiness. The material world, it is always, we have to struggle for happy. But in the spiritual world, there is no struggle at all. And that happiness is not a static. It is all ever increasing happiness. And in the Srimad-Bhagavatam, it is mentioned that such happiness compared to, even in the material world, a person is struggling for happiness and he is achieving for some phase of time, then that is compared to the amount of water having in the pit, that is equivalent to the footprint of a small calf. Whereas the amount of spiritual happiness is like it is like a ocean. So therefore, one has to try for this spiritual happiness. This we can conclude our class. Srimad-Bhagavad-Gita ki jai. Jagadguru